What's up, everybody? This is Marty Friedman here, and you're listening and watching Words and Music.
And that isn't something you hear every day. How cool is this? Yes, it is Marty Friedman, the virtuoso, the metal legend, the guitarist that we all love, who's joining us on Words and Music. Marty, great to have you with us. Presumably live from Tokyo, is it?
Live from Tokyo, that's right, John.
Great. And you're going to be touring and coming here 14th of April in Singapore, a return to Singapore. Those of us who were lucky enough to see your show a couple of years ago will know that the energy you bring, that you bring this amazing combination of archival, classic material, this fusion with Japanese sounds that's made you so distinctive down the years. And can we expect something similar? It's part of a world tour. I know it's a one night only here in Singapore. So what can we look forward to?
Well, kind of the main thing that we shoot for in our live shows is, since our music is for the most part instrumental, people have a preconceived notion about instrumental music, and we're the complete opposite. I mean, we like to destroy stuff. We like to have so much energy. We like to have people think that they did not watch an instrumental show. We want people to think that they watched a punk rock show, even though the music they're listening to is really intense instrumental music. And of course, like you said, there's a lot of Japanese influence. We're based in Japan, and the whole band besides me is Japanese, and I do play some Japanese songs, and it's a very it's a Japanese night, and it's just a lot of fun. And it's when you go to the show, you'll think, what did I just see here? This is not what I thought instrumental music is. So that's what we're about.
That's absolutely brilliant. And whilst we're on that theme, just talking about the band, you talk about the different elements that happen during the show. You don't just destroy things, you have fun with things. There's a lot of laughter because you've got some real characters in the band. You're almost bringing out, like, as a representative, a cultural attaché, which you are really, of Tokyo rock musicians, aren't they? These guys are pretty special, right?
Yeah, I mean, my band is they're just absolutely incredible. They outshine me every single night. Um, and it's interesting that you say this, because I am actually literally an ambassador. I'm an ambassador to Japan Heritage, appointed by the government. And just today, literally like minutes before I'm talking to you, I got word from the government that they're going to extend my post as an ambassador. So it's really kind of an exciting day over here. But I actually really feel that way, especially when I'm in other countries with my band, because I play a lot of Japanese music. There's a lot of Japanese humor in what we do. There's a lot of Japanese attitude, and so people kind of look to me as a foreigner living in Japan. When people from foreign countries, what's it like being a foreigner in Japan, living in Japan? I'm kind of like the go-to guy, and with my band, you kind of get a view of what it's really like here in Tokyo and in Japan. And so it's kind of an interesting thing to peek into that world with our band. But my band, the members Charji, Wakazaimon, and Naoki, they just blow me away every night. I mean, you might go to the show because of me, but you'll remember them. Let me tell you that.
Yeah, I certainly do from when I saw you last. And hey, congratulations for a non-Japanese born person to be seen, deemed to be the best person to be an ambassador like that. That's some honor, and it's incredible the way your
Thank you very
journey
much.
has shaped from your initial fascination with Japan, with Japanese sounds. I heard you on Rick Beato talking about the way that the distorted guitar sound is something that's actually very
Oh,
easily accessible in Japan, and it's readily accepted at all levels, all ages, and all real parts of society. And I guess in a way that's why you've found a home there. When you go to other Asian countries, do you sort of look out for similar things? I know that you've had this intense affair with Japan down the years, but when you come to a place like Singapore, are there things that you're looking to?
absolutely. One of my favorite things that I'm so lucky to experience is touring around the world, and each country has its own culture and its own music, and each country has a lot of pride in that music. So a lot of the people are just more than happy to expose me to the music that they grew up with, and their parents' music and their grandparents' music. And from that, I've found so much inspiration that finds its way into my music, not just Japanese music. Actually, before I really started getting into Japanese music, I was into Chinese music a lot. I lived near Chinatown in San Francisco, and I used to just buy random tapes of Chinese erhus, and I just thought it was a beautiful instrument. I learned so much from that, and when I go to Singapore, I know there's so many different mixtures of very much Chinese influence, but there's
Mm.
other strictly Singaporean things that are there that are different from Hong Kong and China and Taiwan and all that. So I really try to get into as much as I can in a short visit about what makes Singapore music tick, and I try to pick up things from it, and I always wind up learning something.
Well, we're a cultural melting pot because you'll find obviously the Malay and the Indian influences, as well as many, many others from around the Southeast Asian region. And you'll find fans flying in, obviously, for this as well. And that's the beautiful thing about it.
Yes.
Just broadly speaking, in terms of when you do land in a place like Singapore, I know schedules don't always permit, but is there anything that you particularly like to get out and do? Is there something that you like to gauge the vibe of a country by doing, whether it's eating, walking the streets, whatever?
Well, I've been to Singapore many, many times. I wrote one of my albums there, an album called Bad DNA. I've spent a lot of time there. I absolutely love the place. And I know that like when we were playing there, the time is short, so I got to get like one of those steamboats that they have there in
Yeah.
Singapore. And the food, I just make sure that I get right into the food. I don't, what's it called? Char kway teow?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I love that so much. And anything that's really hot and spicy, and just the food culture is so great in Singapore. And I wish I had more time there to enjoy it, but I always try to find something good and make sure the last time the people who took care of us in Singapore did a really good job, and looking forward to it again this time. Definitely the food.
Yeah, and one thing that you'll be very grateful about not being a band that has to do vocals is that you can eat that spicy food. That's not going to be too much of a problem for you.
No, no, not at all. Not at all. We were just in
Okay.
India. We just played in India. We did a whole tour of the country, and we tried to like get the hottest thing that we could possibly eat. And they said, "This is even hot for us people in India." I said,
Mm.
"Bring it on, bring it on." And you know what? It wasn't that bad. It was totally survivable. So maybe we can top that in Singapore this time.
How do you put together a show like this, given the amount of material you can call upon?
Oh, well, we play all around the world and we play in a lot of different capacities. You know, we'll do festivals where we're playing a short amount of time, 45 minutes, an hour or so, 70 minutes, or we'll do our headlining show. We can go upwards of 2.5 hours. So we've got a whole, I don't know what the word is, just a plethora of music to choose from. And the great thing, which I love about my band, is we're very, very spontaneous. And
Mm.
what we're going to play in Singapore is going to be different from what we play in Hong Kong and different from Thailand. And the stuff is so in it's burned into our bodies. So we never rehearse. We know everything and we just call things out on the fly. If we feel like doing this in Singapore, we're going to do this in Singapore. And actually the versions of each songs are kind of, it's almost like a jam band because we do things that only
Mm.
happen once ever sometimes. And that's just a testament to the great musicians in my band. They can pull that off. And to your
And can you actually
question,
do that on the night? Can you
on the
actually
night,
read the room, as it were, and just shape it as it goes based on the reaction?
on the night during the show, sometimes you just feel like doing things longer or shorter, or we kind of have the shorthand in that. And I know that you will notice it when you watch us play. There's a lot of things that we couldn't reproduce even if we tried. There's a lot of things. It's almost like theater in a way that some of the things are orchestrated. A lot of things bring the audience in to the actual performance. And you'll see when you see
Mm.
the show, it's not just us playing, everyone listening. We bring people into the performance. We have them teach us local slang, and we teach them Japanese
Mm.
slang, and we put that into our music. It's kind of anomaly, if you're thinking about instrumental music, is really something different. Yeah.
Really looking forward to it. Just, I'm going to point out to the guys here on Words of Music that we're not going to sit here and talk at length about Megadeth tonight. Of course, everyone knows that, Marty's background, because you just need to go and get Dreaming Japanese, the book that came out, a year plus ago or something like that. And Marty talks at great length and really candidly with some great insights about his time with the band. And that's something that I'm sure you want to read about. But I'm interested in also in terms of what you wrote about in terms of your relationship with Japan and Japanese music. Was there one particular musical influence or one Japanese musician who really sort of tipped you in the end in towards going, right, this is what I must do?
Well, there's kind of one or two producers that kind of tipped me in there. When I was touring a lot in Japan, during the 90s, I was touring constantly in Japan, and I'd come to Japan and I'd realize that the music I was surrounded with was not American music, it was all Japanese. I found out they don't listen to American music very much.
Mm.
So what I was listening to was done by a producer named Tsunku and another producer named Komuro Tetsuya. And another producer who I've been working with quite a bit lately, a guy named Tetsuro Oda. And these three guys, you could not escape their music um, in the 90s in Japan. And I like to call that the golden age of J-pop because that's when J-pop really came into its own. Of course, it has grown into something that's so much better and more refined now. But in the 90s, it was very new and very original and very unique, and it just killed me. So these producers that I just named to you
Mm.
kind of like forced me to want to live in Japan and make music in Japan.
That's wonderful. But the beautiful thing about everything to do with life is that you never completely close doors. And if you're very lucky, you're able to build on past experiences. And, I said we're not going to talk about Megadeth too much, but you know that people are going to come to the show. They're going to go away thinking, wow, that wasn't entirely what I expected. But you're also going to know that people are at that show to hear the Tornado of Soul solo. It's going to be a thing. And you do it so very, very well in terms of the way you interact with the band and the way you introduce the song and everything like that. Is that something that you're always happy to go back to? Or does it ever feel like, well, this is just an obligation for me?
Well, if people want it, we're there to entertain people. And for whatever reason, people associate that particular song or that guitar solo, to be specific, with my period of time in that band, and that's fine. And so it's like 1 minute, which is actually pretty long for a guitar solo,
Yeah.
but we uh, we kind of frame it in almost like a cabaret type of way. We make a big to do out of it. We make it's like I'm thinking in Japanese. I don't know the words in English anymore, but we make kind of theater out of it and make it a fun part of the show rather than it being an obligation. Of course, I
Mm.
have a new album, Drama, which this is the Drama tour, and we're doing a lot of music off that. But if
Mm.
you know you're going to do something that people are going to like, why not do it? So
Yeah.
I do that, and the band has a lot of fun with it. And sometimes I have Naoki play it instead of me, and it's just a riot when he does it. He plays it better than I do, but it's one of those things. It's kind of a must, but I guess sometimes we don't do it, but most of the times we do.
Well, tell us about the new material. Tell us about what you're touring, what the inspiration was. Is there anything in particular that's got your creative juices flowing this time around?
Well, on the Drama album, if you've heard it, it's a very, very romantic album,
Mm.
somewhat in the vein of an album, Scenes, that I did a long time ago, that is very romantic and atmospheric and kind of classical. And it's kind of like a much more modern version of that. And it works really, really well in our touring set list because I love big, vast contrasts.
Yeah.
Like the heavy music is just unbelievably heavy, and the romantic music is like the complete antithesis. It does. That's a hard word for Japanese people to say, I'm sure. It's the complete antithesis of the heavy stuff. So when you get this big contrast, it really you feel it, when we're playing it live. And so the Drama stuff, the whole album is very romantic, but when we stick it in between the heavier stuff from my other solo albums, it just really sounds all the more romantic, and the heavier stuff sounds all the more heavy. So It's a perfect album to tour on, and we've been touring on it for over a year now. And the only place left to go is Australia and Europe, and we're working on those soon.
That's wonderful. Are you still energized by touring? Is there still that thrill when you set out, when you go to countries, either for the first time or, as in Singapore's case, multiple times?
A lot of the places, like Singapore, I've only played with my own band. I've never played with any other bands. So it's exciting to play in places that I've never played before, but I've played in so many places that that's very, very rare. But like a place like, for example, Singapore and Hong Kong, and actually all the cities on this Asia tour, Bangkok. Um, I've never played with any other band than my own band, so it's really exciting to keep cultivating these places with my band, and of course to go back to places I played before. And I love touring more than anything. I love it
Mm.
more than recording and producing, and those are all wonderful things that I'm blessed to be able to do. But I think touring is my calling in life, really.
What about the writing? Just quickly, I want to wrap up with that because I've mentioned obviously the book. You do so many things, your ambassadorial work, your musical work, and of course, you've done so much on Japanese TV and in that incredible role that you kind of stepped into when you first went across to Japan. How cathartic or enjoyable experience was writing? And is it something you'd like to do more of? I'm noticing, for example, Randy from Lamb of God is really turning his pen to good use right now. He's writing some incredible stuff, and it's given him something new to really look into. Is that something that you feel you might do?
I loved writing the book. I've always been kind of a writer. I've done a lot of writing work. I actually wrote two books in Japanese before this one, and I've had a lot of very long-running columns in Japanese
Mm,
magazines, and so writing is kind of natural to me. It's not like I'm great at it, but it's something that I know how to do, and I know how to keep it very conversational. And so writing the book was is cathartic because I was not afraid to make myself look bad. I thought that's going to be the key to making the book fun. If you start, making it sound like a resume or tooting your own horn, it's just boring as hell. So I tried to find as many things that would be embarrassing about myself and expose them all in there. And just tell the truth. Sometimes the truth is cool, sometimes it makes you look bad. But I realized when I was reading other people's books, when they were not afraid to put themselves in a light that's not
mm.
positive, that's when you really, it's a page turner when you're reading books like that. So I found that it was kind of fun saying embarrassing stuff about myself. And then when I released the book, I'm like, crap, everybody knows this about me now. Maybe I should have toned it down, but no, I think that was a fun process. And when people come up to me and they mention some personal thing about my life from the book, and I'm like, how'd you know that? I'm like, oh yeah, I wrote a book about it.
Well, thanks for putting yourself out there. And the other thing, as well as you mentioned, the show. I wanted to ask you this one as well. I'm lucky enough to work in the live space. I do sport. I don't do music. But when you're in live sport, anything can and usually does go wrong. And I just wonder, given the way you put the show on, and you described it so well earlier on, you like to smash things, play around with things, do things on the fly. What's the closest you've come to disaster on stage in terms of everything just going wrong?
It's really a lucky thing that I don't have a great story for that. I've been touring. I've played maybe 3,000 concerts in my life, maybe more. Um, but I don't have a great disaster. Of course, I've fallen down a couple times and I got hurt pretty bad running across the stage once. But nothing really like funny, terrible like disaster. I think maybe one of the things I remember the most was I remember seeing a girl crying in the front row,
Mm.
and that's not unusual. Sometimes girls cry for a lot of reasons, but something about this girl crying was like just didn't seem right. And and I looked at her and I'm like, "What's wrong?" I'm still playing, but I'm like, "What's wrong?" And she was like made the gesture like a camera and pointed to like a security guard, and apparently a security guard had taken away her camera or something.
Mm.
I guess photos were not allowed or whatever, but it was she was really crying sadly. So while I was playing, I went to my tech on the side of the stage. I'm like, get the security guy to bring her camera back. And then that happened, and she was so incredibly happy. And I just remember thinking, wow, I actually did something nice for somebody. And for some reason, that stands out, but it wasn't a really big disaster or anything.
No, that's not a disaster. That's a lovely story. And you were playing all the
It
way,
was
which is just
lucky. The nice thing
incredible.
happened.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
going to wrap up the sort of, serious part of this, as serious as it gets anyway, but just saying this, you have so much enthusiasm, passion, creativity, and energy right now. It's obvious it comes through even in you taking the time to have a quick chat with us today. Where does that come from? And is it ever going to be something that you stop doing, this exploring of the world that you do?
I don't know, man. I just love playing so much, and I'm just so lucky that I'm able to create music that I'm excited about playing. I think that's a big thing, you know. When I go into a record or something, it's a blank sheet. I have no idea what's going to come out. And of course, I work my ass off on it, but at the end of the project, I have something that I want to share with people, and I feel that that's the most important thing that I have to offer anybody is the desire to share what I have with people, whether they like it or not. But I feel that I'm very lucky to have that in me, and it's probably the thing that I do best. I'm not really good at a whole lot of things in life, but I'm pretty sure that I can entertain people. I can make people smile or cry or remember something or look forward to something or feel positive or look introspectively. I'm pretty sure I can force an audience to do that.
That's a wonderful answer. That's a wonderful way to wrap up this part. One thing I'd like to do just before we finish, Marty, if you're game for this, you've got super quick fingers. I want to know how quick your answers are. We're going to do that thing where I fire these crazy questions at you. Just try and give me the first thing that comes into your mind, and we'll see how much fun we can have with it. Okay, here
Okay.
we go. They'll come one after another. First up, if you could have a superpower, what would it be?
Oh God. Ah, I feel like already I don't. There's nothing I want. I guess
Okay.
if I guess I would like to be taller.
Okay, good. What's the phone app you check first thing every morning?
I don't really check the phone right away. Yeah, God. I bad answer number two. I don't have an answer.
One thing people would be surprised to know about you.
Um, my favorite music of all time is music from like the 50s and early 60s. Phil Spector girl groups, Elvis, idol pop singers, anything before the Beatles. Once the Beatles came in, the end of music began.
Whoa, that's an answer and a half, but I can't stop right now. One non-musical skill you wish you had.
Non-musical skill. I wish I was better at sports because I love sports. I love watching, but I just really suck, as you would expect.
One habit you can't break.
Um, just putting music above everything else, literally everything else, music comes first.
If you had a warning label, what would it say?
I'm gonna play very loud.
Favorite recent TV series?
Oh, I love Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh,
Is that
love that.
recent?
Yeah, that's recent enough. That'll timeless. Okay, favorite way to spend a lazy Sunday?
Doing nothing at all. Reading comic books, drinking Coca-Cola, potato chips, listening to music. That's
And
my
talking
day.
about music, let's wrap it up with this. Any new music or artists that you really think people should be listening to right now?
Mrs. Green Apple. Oh, without a question.
Mrs. Greenapple, lovely. Marty, thank you so much for taking so much time. Just one last thing, just give a shout out to everybody, just reminding them you're coming on the 14th of April here in Singapore and to come along and see the show.
Everybody in Singapore, you guys know how much I love your country. It's so beautiful, and the people are so friendly. And I love Singlish. La, right? Everybody says la after everything, right? I love the language and especially the food. And there's no lack of beautiful women there either. So my band is on fire. We're so honored to be able to come and play again. Seems like we just played there, but it's already been a year or so. We cannot wait to play for you on April 14th in Singapore. See you guys there.
Marty Friedman, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for taking the time. Have yourself a great day, and I can't wait to see you in April. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John. Talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Really hope you enjoyed that video, and make sure you come back for more, because we're just getting started here at Words and Music. There's plenty of great content coming your way, so please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll let you know whenever we drop anything new. Share this with your friends, and feel free to comment. Be part of our community. I'll see you again soon.